Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to Story Time. Today, we're going to read again the book The Curious Garden by Peter Brown. Some of you already listened to the story when we got together for a small group, but some of my friends were not able to connect, so I hope this time everybody can listen to the story. The Curious Garden by Peter Brown. Peter Brown is the author and illustrator of this book. Let's get ready for the story. There once was a city without gardens or trees or greenery of any kind. Most people spend their time indoors. As you can imagine, it was a very dreary place. Look, boys and girls, it's a very sad place. No gardens, no trees, just smoke coming out from the chimneys, from the houses, and from the factories. And I see over here a very old railway all around the city. And no people outside. However, there was one boy who loved being outside, even on drizzly days. While everyone else stayed inside, you could always find Liam happily splashing through his neighborhood. And here is Liam splashing on the puddles on rainy days. It was on one such morning that Liam made several surprising discoveries. He was wandering around the old railway as he did from time to time when he stumbled upon a dark stairwell leading up to the trucks. And here is Liam running, and he found the stairs to go up the trucks. The railway had stopped working ages ago, and since Liam had always wanted to explore the trucks, there was only one thing for the curious boy to do. Liam ran up the stairs, pushed open the door, and stepped out into the railway. The first thing he saw was a lonely patch of color. Wildflowers and plants were the last things he had expected to find up there. But when he took a closer look, it became clear that the plants were dying. They needed a gardener to take care of them. And look, here are the plants that Liam found. Okay, let's find out if Liam is going to take care of the plants. Liam may not have been a gardener, but he knew that he could help. So he returned to the railway the very next day and got to work. The flowers nearly drowned. He put too much water. And he had a few pruning problems. But the plants patiently waited while Liam found better ways of gardening. And look, Liam is singing to the plants. And I'm starting to notice that the plants are starting to turn green. As the weeks rolled by, Liam began to feel like a real gardener, and the plants began to feel like a real garden. More plants are growing. Most gardens stay in one place, but this was no ordinary garden. With miles of open railway ahead of it, the garden was growing restless. It wanted to explore. The tough little weeds and mosses were the first to move. They pop up farther and farther down the tracks and were closely followed by the more delicate plants. Boys and girls, the plants are growing along the train tracks. Over the next few months, Liam and the Curious Garden explored every corner of the railway. Look, all the railway is filled with plants. The garden had spread around the railway. And look over here, look at all the beautiful daisies that are growing in this side. And we cannot see the train tracks because they're covered with grass. And look at Liam, how proud he looks over there with his garden. And look, the garden keeps growing and growing. And we see Liam over here looking at the city. After spending his spring and summer and autumn with the garden, Liam's time on the railway was finally interrupted by winter. Heavy blankets of snow fell on the city that season, and for the first time since he had become a gardener, Liam could not visit the plants. I wonder how Liam feels about not visiting his plants. Look at all the snow that had covered the plants. Rather than waste his winter worrying about the garden, Liam spent it preparing for spring. Look, here is Liam reading a book about plants. Maybe he's learning how he can take care of them. Different ways that he can take care of the plants. After 3 cold months, the snow finally began to melt, and Liam rolled his new gardening gear over to the railway. So here is Liam with all his tools going up to the tracks again. Winter had taken a toll on the garden. And look at the tree again, it looks kind of dry. But thanks to Liam's planning, his handy new tools, and little help from the sun, the plants soon awoke from their winter sleep, and they started to bloom again. The garden had always wanted to explore the rest of the city, and that spring it was finally ready to make its move. Once again, the tough little weeds and mosses set out first. They pop up farther and farther from the railway and very closely followed by the more delicate plants. Look at the garden is starting to grow and spread around the city again. The garden was especially curious about all forgotten things, like this card, like growing in the car, growing by people's windows. A few plants pop up where they didn't belong. Look over here, the stop sign, the water hydrant. Others mysteriously pop up all at once, at people's windows, around the city. But the most surprising thing that popped up were the new gardeners. Now people are starting to take care of the garden. Look, and children followed Liam to help him take care of the garden too. There were gardens all over the city, the beach, at the parks, in the buildings' rooftops. There were plants all over. Even people started making designs on the trees. Many years later, the entire city had bloomed. But of all the new gardens, Liam's favorite was where it all began. And look over here. Here is the tiny little tree that Liam found, and look how big it is now. And Liam learned how to take care of the plants. And this is how the city looks now. after the gardens grew all over the city. Boys and girls, how do you think the city looks better? At the end or at the beginning when there were no plants? Look at the difference. It was so dark and gray and lonely. It looks so lonely. And look over here. Look how beautiful it looks at the end. And this is the end. Thank you for listening, boys or girls, and see you again soon. Bye bye.